Faith, family, and sports right here on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. I'm your host, Roman Gabriel III. Thanks for coming in tonight. Of course, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. You can catch us on one of a couple hundred stations that are out there. All you have to do is go to AFR.net. That's American Family Radio, AFR.net, and look up where we're coming in to you on your local radio station, on American Family Station. Also, you can hear us streaming live at AFR.net and also on our archive page at AFR.net at Sold Out Sports Talk. Our guest tonight, Roger Matzke, is the youth pastor at the Sanctuary in Orange County, California. He's a former competitive surfer, and as we've talked about before, if you're into extreme sports, that's where it all started in Southern California. His lead pastor is Jay Hazlip, who is a pro skateboarder. Brian Sumner, who we've had on this program, an excellent pro skateboarder, works with their youth too. Christian Azoya, pro skateboarder. So he's actually won some X Game gold. So this church is not only doing it for Christ, giving the word, but they're living it out there for these young people. And Roger, we were talking about extreme games and just the impact the extreme games have. And I'm going to ask you the same question I asked a lot of these guys, and I've gotten different answers. How influential has the extreme games and ESPN's influence and coverage of extreme sports in winter and summer impacted youth and helped or hindered you?
Yeah, I know, a lot of what they do, and, I understand the sports industry and, the marketing and everything that they do. And, it creates some, difficulty in the sense that, they put, in light a lot of, sometimes what we don't necessarily stand for as believers or Christians, and it'll make it, they paint that picture that this is what it looks like on top. And, you hear from so many stories such as, my senior pastor, Brian Sumner, Christian Hosoi, just the struggles of the reality of what's out there and what you can get, what you're faced with, and when you fall to that temptation, I think sometimes the media just shows us that side where here's the glory, here's the fame, and you really don't see the other side of that competitive sport and the stuff that go on behind the scenes until you hear from guys like Christian and Brian, and you hear the stories and you hear what's going on, and you really realize that whole scene really, if you don't make the right decision, will lead you just on a path really ultimately to destruction like it has for so many, and it's great to just know that, God has put his hand into extreme sports, and now Christian, Brian Sumner, all these guys that are still involved in it to this day are really getting to be a voice in that arena.
Roger Matzke, youth pastor at the Sanctuary. If you want more information on that great ministry in Southern California, just outside Orange County, Westminster actually, go to mysanctuarychurch.com, or you can find Roger at his Facebook page at Roger, M-A-T-Z-K-E, Matzke, or you can find him on his Twitter page. Same thing. You want to talk, I'm sure he loves to do it. Now, one of the things that I wanted to visit with you about real quick before we let you go, Roger, is this. A lot of times the church expects young people to come to them. But ministries like yours, our ministry, and others out there understand how important it is that we go out to find unchurched kids, because many of these kids are not getting a church background like a lot of us did from the previous generation because parents are unchurched. So we have a different dynamic in the church. My son-in-law, Jesse Hines, who's a professional surfer, they do surf camps up and down the East Coast where they're able to go out to young surfers and then share their testimony in the gospel. And I'm sure there are so many events where you're at in Southern California. What are some of the outreaches that you all are involved in?
It's exciting, just being in our area, Southern California. I mean, nowadays there's a skate park on all four corners of a city, these city skate parks. And we literally go, one thing that we believe here at the church, and the church needs to recognize, I always look back at the Bible, and, Jesus spent very little time in the synagogue. He was out on the streets. He was out on the highways and the byways. And we go right into these communities. We go right into these skate parks. We'll set up some music. We take the gospel right on the street. and right where they're at. And one thing that we do that we felt and we understand and know is really helpful is we go and we begin to befriend them. We just don't kind of show up and do our big thing and we go. Young people need consistency in their life. And so we go into these skate parks week after week. We know these teens by name. We're skating with them. I got teenagers that are part of our ministry that are skating with them. And ultimately, our goal is we invite them to the church. We got a skate park that we set up in the parking lot of the church. They're not even required to come inside the church to skate there. So we meet them on their own turf, on their own ground. We invite them into a very safe environment for them to see other believers and Christians right around the sport that they do. And ultimately, we share the gospel out there. We're seeing teenagers getting saved, and then they're actually coming in to the church. And we see them during the week. They're telling us they're looking forward to coming to church that Thursday or Sunday, and it's all as a result of really just going out into the area that they hang out, that they skateboard, that they're doing their thing. And when you befriend them there, they ultimately get drawn into the love of Christ, and we have that opportunity to share the gospel with them.
What's exciting about Pastor Roger out at the Sanctuary is his words are the same as we've had from Jesse Hines, from Brian Sumner, from Josh Harmony, from Tony Dungy, from baseball and football players. It's about using your platform where you're at, and that's what God gives us every single day is opportunities to use that platform, opportunities to take the experiences that God has put into us and to daily live out Christ in front of other people's lives, and it's no different here at the Sanctuary. And Roger, before you go tonight, want to give your website out again, mysanctuarychurch.com. Of course, you can find Roger, Matzke, on his Twitter page or on his Facebook page. And I want to invite you to do something, Roger, for our young people that are involved nationally with Sold Out, and two separate words. I want you, anytime that you feel like it, to attach anything you want to our Sold Out site to let people know what's going on the West Coast and what's going on with your church, who's so tied into extreme sports, so tied in to what youth are interested in today, because there are a lot of kids, although they do get involved in team sports, there are others that this is what they love to do. They get into the extreme sports, and we want to reach kids right where they're at. So, Roger, God bless you. Appreciate everything that you're doing there. Our best to you, and we'll certainly be in prayer for your ministry, and please stay in touch with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Roman. Great to be on the show, and look forward to see what God continues to do in and through your ministry as well.
Roger, have a great one, man, and God bless you. Keep winning the souls out there, and we appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you and talking to you again.
Amen.
Roger Matzke, youth pastor at the Sanctuary in Orange County, former competitive surfer, and man, boy, does he got a crew of guys out there who can talk to young people about extreme sports, but more importantly, to use that platform to not only share biblical principles and life principles, but to share the most important message that we can ever give, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ. And before we go to break tonight, of course, I've got coming up in our final segment, we'll set you up for the NASCAR weekend as we've got 3 more races left in the chase. I'll set you up with my top 3 NFL games for tomorrow, and there's still 3 college football games I want to turn you on to tonight that you can catch. And, of course, you can catch us anywhere on the AFR website, Sold Out Sports Talk. You can do it at the archive and hear this interview and many others. You can also hear on Sold Out Sports Minute, our archive page, which has short interviews of this program as well as this interview you'll hear. And you can hear that live Monday through Friday on Today's Issues with President Tim Wildman. You can hear that at 11 Central, 11:15, specifically for that program, Sold Out Sports Minute on Today's Issues. Now, what I want to visit with you about is I want to thank a few people before we get going tonight. I wanted to do that in the first segment, but I want to tell you about something really exciting that happened over the weekend. Had an opportunity to go out to Hebron Colony and visit with their men out there the other night. I want to thank Brian Willis, who he and his wife living out there, as well as the whole staff of Hebron for hosting me. Had an opportunity to share the gospel and to share some biblical principles and encourage their men. It's a 10-week program for men that have gotten into drug and alcohol abuse who need help. And what's really neat about it is they come from all areas. Not only do they equip them to help them with their problem with alcohol and drugs, but they also equip them with the gospel message, with biblical principles, with accountability to other men, and then prepare them to go back out into the real world and to be a difference maker. The great thing about God is He's a God of second chances, and if you're struggling with those problems, please go to your local phone number out there and look up the place like at Hebron Colony and others that can help with drug and alcohol abuse, because we need the help of others as well as to know Jesus as our personal Savior and Lord. So I want to compliment the Hebron Colony people for having me out there, and look forward, guys, to coming back out there to see you very soon, and many of you that are going out there and doing some great things and are going to come through that program. And I think they have a group that comes in every 10 weeks, so be praying for them. Also, we have a tackle football program, or a Pop Warner type program called Equip Sports out here in Boone, North Carolina. And I want to thank Eric Henderson, who leads that, and Jeff and all of his staff out there who teach these young men from 9 to 14 years old the game of football. The head coach at Appalachian State University here, Jerry Moore, and he has been great not only for college football. They've been very successful, one of the most successful college football programs in the country. And he also has a great heart for ministry, and he helped buy the uniforms for these kids. Monday night we had our last game, and he hosted it at their stadium, which is absolutely incredible. It holds 30,000. We had the lights on. These young kids got a chance to play on this major college stadium field under the lights. We had an opportunity to share the gospel not only with the kids after each of the 3 games that were played, but the parents as well. And I am really pleased to report that God moved in a mighty way, and we saw over 40 young kids and we also had parents that made decisions for Jesus Christ on Monday night. So great job by the staff of Equip Football. Appreciate the parents of Dawson and of Boone, who are such a great support in bringing their kids to this program where they learn football, but more importantly, they learn the skills of life, and they also get to hear and have a choice. And that's really what it's all about. Like Pastor Matzke has said, Brian Sumner on this show, Tony Dungy, other athletes and coaches, we just want to give kids the opportunity to make a spiritual decision in their life. And when we do that, we do a great service to the parents and kids. And so I want to thank our local church up here as well as the Equip program. And, of course, if you're listening up here, you're listening on Hickory 89.7 FM, which is nearby, if you want to know what's going on locally. When we come back, we'll set you up for the college football, NFL, NASCAR.